Am I the jerk for not accepting my sister's relationship with my ex despite her having cancer as a teenager? My 25 female father married my stepsister's 23 female mother when I was 4 and she was 3. We've lived together most of our lives and are a family. She and I were extremely close. She developed cancer when she was 14 and was sick for about 2 years. She's since made a full recovery. During that time, my parents became understandably overprotective. They also asked a lot of me. I quit my extracurriculars so I could get a job, the money went towards her medical bills, and so I could drive her to appointments. I didn't go to dances and any fun activities I did needed to include her. I did almost all of this willingly, the exception being having to quit my high school volleyball team. I did throw a bit of a tantrum about that, but was swiftly punished. And I think, having one emotional breakdown was pretty chill given the circumstances. Anyhow, I go to college and meet my ex, we'll call him Ben, when I'm a junior. We fell in love, blah blah blah. He and I move in together when we graduate, so we've been living together for about 3 years. We were serious, until July, when I walked into my bedroom and saw him screwing my sister. I broke it off, tears were shed, he moved out, etc. My sister apologized at first but then backed off. I thought she was giving me space, but last week she called and asked if we could meet up. She told me that she and Ben were in love and were just telling me as a courtesy before they started posting photos online. Distraught, I left her in the restaurant by herself and did not pay my portion of the bill. She later Venmoed me asking for the money. She told my parents, who then called me to their house, telling me how disappointed in me they are for not supporting my sister's relationship with Ben. They brought up the fact that because she had cancer as a teenager, she never learned proper social etiquette, and has a hard time meeting people. I don't buy this, in part because I've seen her socialize just fine, and since we spent a good chunk of the time she was sick together, that would also mean that I should have bad social skills as well, by that logic. They then told me that if I don't accept my sister and Ben's relationship, they may have to go no contact with me. I reminded them that I'm also their daughter and they should understand my point of view, but they are adamant that this is about me being jealous of her. For the record, I'm not jealous of her. I'm not upset that Ben picked her over me. I'm sad about the end of the relationship and do feel betrayed, but Lord knows that I don't want to be with a cheater. What I'm upset about is the fact that my sister chose Ben over me. That she slept with Ben knowing he and I were in a long-term, committed relationship, and continues to be with him knowing how much it hurts me. Now no one in my immediate family is talking to me and I'm getting messages from aunts and uncles and cousins telling me that I'm a jerk and a selfish bee. Not the jerk. Her lack of social etiquette is due to their lack of parenting, not cancer. You are better off without these people. Not the jerk. Your parents are enablers. Cancer as a teen did not shrink-wrap her and isolate her from the entirety of human mores and values forever and ever. Amen. From what you describe, it sounds disturbingly like you have been deemed the cannon fodder of the family. Take some time for yourself, put them on the back burner. Edit from OP. Thank you everyone so much for your comments. This has gotten more attention than I expected and I am having trouble keeping up, so if I don't say thank you, then thank you. I've been given a lot of food for thought. To be honest, while I've had moments where I've been resentful or upset about my teenage years, I've always thought that I did the right thing for my sister and for my family. And that time wasn't all miserable. I was very close to my sister and we made things as fun as we could. But I didn't think of it as an abdication of my parents' responsibilities or that they were doing wrong by me, which many of you pointed out. I definitely have a lot to think about. Thank you again for making me feel less crazy about all of this. Update: sometimes you can only laugh. Just got off the phone with my cousin who saw this post and said he could explain a few things. I asked him why he was on Reddit instead of school. He asked me why I was on Reddit instead of work, and I said touche. He told me that after my conversation with my mum, she went to his house and talked to my aunt. And here's the deal. Turns out my sister is not only in a relationship with Ben but 4 months pregnant. Which means she and Ben were screwing for longer than I had even guessed. Apparently my parents are so adamant that I forgive her because I'm already ruining their experience of their first grandchild. That's right, I'm less important than my stepmom posting ultrasounds to Facebook. This is where we're at. Anyhow, I called out of work sick the rest of the day and am going to drink a lot of alcohol. Like, a lot of alcohol. And then start thinking about what the F I'm going to do. Major update. I was asked for an update and thus, here I am. 2 things to clarify before I update. I didn't have a crappy childhood. The favoritism started when my sister was diagnosed. I moved out soon after and have been pretty independent since then. Not saying that, how my parents treated me during those years were a-okay, but I wasn't Cinderella. I did not drink myself into oblivion. I had 2 white wine spritzers. But I appreciate the concern from folks. Anyhow, the update? I got in touch with my sister and asked her to meet up again at a park, no bill involved. I asked her if she was pregnant and she told me the truth. She said she wanted us to still be in each other's lives and that she wanted me to be in her babies. A Redditor, and I forget who, I'm sorry, mentioned that she may ask me to be the godmother, and that person was correct. But as many of you pointed out, if I didn't cut her off, I'd just become her bank and daycare employee. So I told her I could no longer be in her life. And I left her crying on a park bench and felt like the crappiest person in the world. I emailed my parents and told them how betrayed I felt and that I'd be cutting off contact with them. To my stepmom's credit, she apologized. She explained that she never thought my sister would live to have kids and that she let her emotions get the better of her. Understandable. My dad said nothing, which is honestly what sucked the worst about all of this. Ben tried messaging me from a burner account for the first time since the breakup, but I blocked him without reading it. I didn't go nuclear and post the story to Facebook as some suggested, but I sent an email to the extended family members who I care about. I explained the situation and how I'd be distancing myself from my family. Some have made it an us versus some situation, and as much as I appreciate the support, feeling like I'm in some valiant battle just makes me more tired. So I haven't been talking to much of anyone in my family. I feel lonely and crappy, but I think I made the right decision. Anyhow, not the most exciting update in the world, but hopefully everyone knows that I'm not dead. I do really appreciate the support I've gotten. It made me smile during a really crappy time. And hey, if anyone in the greater Boston area wants an extra guest at Thanksgiving, let me know. Your family is ridiculous. Once the whole story comes out, and they will look like trash for how they are treating you. OP's response: your family is ridiculous. Once the whole story comes out, and they will look like trash for how they are treating you. Am I the jerk for telling my wife's friend she is too old and ugly, after she repeatedly asked my 19-year-old son to take off his shirt? He was getting uncomfortable. My family had a small get-together at my house. One of my wife's friends was over. She is unmarried. I think she is 45 to 47. We aren't too close to her since she lives pretty far away. She was over our house and she started complimenting my son. My son is 19. It starts off innocent, but as time goes on it gets more and more crossing the line. When we were out on my deck, she starts telling my son to take his shirt off. What's the point of going to the gym if no one will see it? My son is visibly uncomfortable and tries to shut her down. She repeatedly is asking and is getting more aggressive with it. I interject and I am like, hey Kathy, I think you are a bit too old and ugly for my son. This got her upset really quickly, and she excuses herself to the bathroom and starts crying. My wife goes to comfort her, and then later she leaves. At the end of it, my wife is super angry with me for saying that I should have said, hey Kathy, looks like you had too much to drink or something else. I told my wife that Kathy, BTW, this is not her real name, works a corporate job. She has had training on this and that she knows better. And our son was uncomfortable. He is 18 plus, but he doesn't know how to deal with an adult, let alone someone saying that in our house. I told my wife flat out that if I was to invite a guy friend and he was to ask to see our daughter in a bikini, my wife would have called the police. She says it's different. I tell her that I was way kinder to Kathy than I would have been had a guy said something like that to our daughter. And I told my wife that Kathy needs to apologize to my son before she can ever come into our house again. Overall, I think I was fair. If Kathy just said it once and I said that I think I would be the jerk, but the fact she kept repeating it, that's why I said it. And I wanted her to get the message that yes, I am upset, that's why I included the ugly part. Not the jerk. Double standard no more. I wouldn't let her around my boy anymore. I would be livid if a husband's friend was telling my daughter the same type of things. Everyone sucks here, except the son. Your friend for harassing your son, you for bringing her age and appearance into the picture, and your wife for saying it's different because it's your son and not your daughter. Am I the jerk for only celebrating one of my daughters? I have 2 daughters with 2 different women, Jade, 14 female, and Elle, 15 female, who are both in the same grade since Jade skipped a grade. Jade is very smart and extremely competitive, while Elle is not much competitive. A while ago there was a test in their school. The test covered all of the subjects that they've learned this year and all of the kids in their grade had to take it. Yesterday they got the results. First Elle arrived and happily told me that she became 17th in their grade. I told her she did a really good job and I'm proud of her. Then Jade came and she was crying her eyes out and went to her room without saying anything. I thought something bad had happened, but Elle told me that she was crying because she became second in their grade. That night, I decided to take her to her favorite restaurant to celebrate and cheer her up a bit, so the three of us went to celebrate. Then I took the girls to their mums' homes. An hour later, Elle's mum called me to tell me I'm a jerk for only celebrating Jade. I told her that it's not like we ordered a cake with Jade's name on it or didn't take Elle with us. It was just dinner with both of the girls and Jade was the one who was upset and did a better job, so of course we would go to her favorite restaurant. You're the jerk. Comparing the kids and rating them against each other is gross, and favoritism can easily drive a wedge between them that may last long after you're gone. Everyone sucks here, except the son. Your friend for harassing your son, you for bringing her age and appearance into the picture, and your wife for saying, it's different, because it's your son and not your daughter. Am I the jerk for giving guardianship of my son to my aunt over my mother after I'm gone from my terminal cancer? I, 21 male, have a son who just turned 1. His mum, who was my girlfriend, passed in labor along with the other baby she was carrying. I was diagnosed with terminal cancer 3 months ago and I don't have very long left, 2 months at most. I have accepted that I'm going to pass, but now I have to think about what's best for my son. I had to decide who my boy would go to and I thought my mother, 55, naturally, but then I started to think of her situation as my older, 29, lives with her along with his 5 kids all aged under 5, and I decided not to. As mum works and my brother isn't really raising his kids, to be honest, more dragging them up and can be neglectful. I wasn't going to put my son in that environment, as I want someone to actually care for him. So, I then thought of my aunt, 33, on my dad's side. She is a good mother and her husband a good father to their 3 girls, and I know they could provide for my son. I asked them and they agreed. My mother, however, found out that I wasn't leaving my son with her and she got angry with me, that she's losing me and now losing her grandson. I gave her my reasons and that she realistically can't raise him, while she's basically raising a man-child and his kids. It all ended in an even bigger argument and now I'm cooling off at home. I understand that things are terrible for her right now, as I won't be here soon, but my aunt is a much better choice. It's not like my son won't know who she is, as the walk between hers and my aunt's is only 5 minutes. Not the jerk. You're taking a final responsibility to ensure that your child has the best chance for success. Don't feel bad about it and don't let your mother talk you out of it. You're a good dad, and I'm sure your child will grow up knowing and appreciating that. Major update. First off, I'd like to say thanks to everyone who gave their suggestions and well wishes. Unfortunately, I didn't get to read everybody's comments, as there are too many, but thanks to everyone anyway. Now on to the update. I gave my mother a few days to calm herself down before speaking to her again. She eventually came around. She recognizes that it's not optimal for my son to stay with her and that he would be better with my aunt. She knows that my brother is a slob and is giving him a good kick up the ass to get his life together and shit. I have spoken with a lawyer who has helped me with a lot of things, including getting my son legally adopted by my aunt and her husband. He will still be staying with me until I pass. As a lot of you suggested, I made recordings and videos of myself giving him advice for his milestones. For example, when he loses his first tooth, turning the ages 10, 13, 16, 18, 21, his first girlfriend or boyfriend if he likes. I've made a video in case he is in any way LGBT+, leaving secondary school, going uni, getting married, or if he has any kids. There are also things I've put into writing, like how his mother died and that he was supposed to grow up with a twin brother that also sadly passed. I've also had my lawyer help me set up a little trust to will him £40,000 from my girlfriend's father when he died. She put the money in a joint bank account that I got when she passed, in case he needs help with university or decides to go traveling. All I have to do now is to enjoy the time I have left with him. I've moved my younger brother into my flat so that there will be someone to find me every day for when I go. When I'm gone, I can at least be comforted by the fact that the son I love so much is being taken care of and that I will see the girl I love again and our other angel I never got to meet. Thank you all again. Whilst this circumstance is so heartbreaking, it is beautiful to see the pure love you have for your kid and family. He's had it rough. OP, you sound like a wonderful gentleman. I would write a letter saying how special he is, honestly. And just write him a letter for when he's 16 or so, explaining how much you love him. Oh, this is so sad. Good luck, buddy. Imagine if the sun could update us. Wow,